The magic island of Euclidia, home of a colony of mad scientists, would be a weird enough place to visit on a sightseeing tour, but it becomes fearful indeed to the little party of worldly people imprisoned there. When Mrs. Patricia Gregory set out to look for her young daughter, lost 14 years ago in a shipwreck, she little dreamed of the dangers her party would encounter. Captain Tex Bradford, friend of Patricia Gregory and organizer of the expedition, young Jerry Hall, amateur radio operator who begged to accompany them, and Joan Gregory, the daughter, are now prisoners on the island, or rather inside the island, as their quarters are down in the depths of this man-made structure. Left to their own devices after their escape and recapture, our friends soon discover that there is little pleasure in their imprisonment. They are nearly maddened by the constant echo of their voices in the steel chambers.
Well, I know things don't look any too hot for us right now, but we've got to keep our chins up.
Oh, you've been wonderful, Jerry. I think yours is the strongest will of all.
And I'm willing to admit that I'm not apt to be much help about getting us out of this place.
Jerry is quite right in putting forward a brave face, even though intelligent thought would rule it useless.
Now, look here, Joan. Nobody's going to rule my face useless.
My reference was to your attitude rather than your appearance. However, if we are to enter into discussion of the matter, exactly what value does your face have?
Did you hear that? What value does my face have?
Now, Jerry, don't get excited and start an argument with Joan. We can occupy our time better than that.
Oh, it would seem so, Tex, and yet we must talk about something, and there's so little to be said.
Joan, let you and I go in my room at the end of the hall where we can figure a way out of this thing.
I'm quite willing to confer with you if you will confine your conversation to the bounds of logic, Gerald.
Gerald? Huh. This is going to be a fine argument. Gerald. Oh, well, come on.
Take a look at the pigeons while you're there, will you?
Oh, we'll make sure they're all right.
You will make sure of nothing, my young fool.
G47.
Precisely.
We were merely going into the next chamber for a discussion, G47.
Then be on your way. I have something to say to your mother and Captain Bradford.
Come right on in, G47.
Your attempt at courtesy is only a ridiculous gesture. I shall come and go within these chambers as I please.
Well, is it all right if we go on now?
No, nothing you could do would be right, but you have my permission. Go.
Come on, Joan. You know, that guy gives me the willies.
Jerry, the willies are what?
Oh, so you forgot that already. Here I waste a lot of time trying to teach you English, and now you forget what the willies are.
I am sorry, Jerry, but your words are so strange to me.
No more than this blame island is strange to me. Hey, this door's open. That means old Geometry's been in here taking himself a good look around.
We cannot prevent that. He rules Euclidia.
Yeah, I know it. Well, let's go in and sit down. Maybe we can figure some way out of this mess.
These apartments are very comfortable, are they not?
They are not. This blame echo thing is driving me crazy. Nothing is comfortable that you can't get out of when you want to.
You may be right.
You know I'm right.
No, Jerry. I know you think you are quite correct in everything you do, but
I'm getting along all right. Now listen, old G47 isn't calling on your mother and Captain Bradford for any tea party. He's going to threaten them with something or else promise them something to get Texas formula. And we may have to work fast to figure another escape.
But there is no opportunity for escape now.
That's what you said before, and we got away.
But we did not, as you would say, stay got away.
Stay got away. Oh, what's the use? Now, if we only get another chance to use those pigeons. Hey, Joan, the pigeons are gone.
Jerry, they are not here.
No, I'll say they're not here. But how did they get out?
G47.
But we'd have heard him moving around in this echo stuff here.
Not G47. He would make no sound.
No sound in this place?
Did you hear any footsteps when he came to the door?
Golly whiskers, Joan, you're right. It didn't make a sound. But when we walk around here, it sounds like a truck on cobblestones.
We have been talking for a considerable period of time in Mother's apartment.
Uh-huh. Long enough for him to do anything he wanted to.
There have been no homing pigeons on Euclidia, to my knowledge, which is, of course, limited to the confines of information our scientists have stipulated as the maximum advisable for consumption at my age.
Right with you, Joan. Those old boys have told you as much as they thought a kid could swallow.
Gerald, I am not a kid. kid.
Yeah, I
is
know.
a-
Don't tell me again. A kid is a young goat. Now, if you'll stop trying to educate me and listen to reason for a while, we might figure a way out of this.
But there is no way out. G47 will not relax the vigilance of the Euclideans again. Our case is particularly hopeless since our escape.
Why any more since that?
G47 will now realize our potentialities and be doubly anxious to secure the captain's formula.
Well, he can figure all he wants to. But G47 or no G47, we'll get off this funny island someday, and I'll bet it won't take long either.
It seems almost impossible that so stupid a person would be given such splendidly continuous vocal equipment.
Jerry, he heard you.
Oh, what of it? He didn't hear anything he doesn't know.
It would need a man far more ignorant than any on Euclidia to learn anything new from one of your mental caliber, Hall. In a very short space of time, you may understand more fully what I mean. In a very short time, a very short...
Gee, he's gone. Through that steel wall, without a sound.
Jerry, you should know that G47 did not go through that steel wall.
Well, it looked like he did.
And even after your experiences with these Euclidean scientists, you are willing to accept the appearance for the fact?
Oh, yeah, he didn't go through the wall at all.
To be sure he did not.
To be sure, nothing of this is Screwy Island. But I guess I know what happened. He stepped around a sharp corner in that hallway, and the polished steel made his reflection look like he was passing through.
Now your mental processes are functioning again.
Yeah, but no matter how old geometry got out of here, it's just another good sign that he knows a lot of tricks we'll have trouble catching up with.
Jerry, listen.
Yeah, that's a signal to submerge, isn't it?
It is, and that would mean one of two things.
Well, I know it means the island is in danger of being seen for one thing, but what's the other?
Something which would mean the end of all our hopes.
Huh? They're going to drown us?
I think not, but it might be as well.
Hey, listen, I don't like the way you say that. What goes on here?
Here they are in here, Pat.
Oh, Joan, Jerry, we've the most wonderful news.
Observation would lead us to conclude that information of an optimistic nature would be welcome.
Joan's afraid things are looking bad for us.
Well, they don't look any too good. But with what we just found, there's every chance we'll get away from this island.
What is it?
The very thing we've been looking for every hour since we landed on this mad island. Look.
A little black notebook. Well,
The diary of the old sailor.
is that it?
That's it, boy, the old sailor's diary. And if it's as complete as we think it is, we'll know as much about this island as the Euclideans know.
You will undoubtedly find much of value in that book.
It wasn't even hidden. After G47 left the room, Tex and I started to get acquainted with our surroundings. And there, lying on a shelf in plain sight, was this book.
And that old sailor spent years here, didn't he, Joan? Years in which he studied this island and waited for his chance to escape, and made entries of all he learned in this diary.
That is true.
Then that diary should tell us all we need to know to plan an escape from this place.
Without doubt, it will tell us all we need to know to plan the escape.
But, Joan, dear, why do you sound so hopeless?
Oh, Joan is so afraid of these people, she doesn't realize the chance this gives us.
I don't know about that. When Joan puts on the graveyard look, she's usually got a pretty good reason for it.
But there couldn't be anything lacking in what this book means to us. We all agreed, and you were heartily in agreement with us on it, Joan, that if we could find this diary, it would quite possibly mean our escape.
Where did you say you found this book?
In Pat's apartment.
And the book was not concealed? No attempt had been made to hide it?
Why, no, dear. It was lying right in front of us.
Huh. You're right, Joan.
Maybe I'm thick, but I still don't see it. A book we wanted is still a book we want, no matter where it was found.
Even if it had been left where you could not help but find it?
Huh? Where we... Oh, golly whiskers.
Joan, dear, we didn't find the book. It was simply handed to us.
Yes, Mother.
Then that means just one thing. The book isn't going to do us any good.
Looks like that's it. These Euclideans have figured out some way of being sure we'll stay here as long as they want us, no matter how many books we find.
That is the situation to be faced.
Oh, and I thought the little diary meant so much.
Don't look so downhearted, Pat. That diary means plenty. We're going to get off this man-made torture city someday, and when we do, we can use that information to further scientific work in the right direction back home.
That's all swell, but Joan's got the idea we're not going to get back home.
Did you hear that?
That signal gong of theirs. They're going to submerge this island or do some more of their tricks.
I think it meant more than that.
What is it?
Don't act so mysterious, Joan. We must know all that you know about this island and know it as quickly as possible if we're to have a chance to escape.
I will tell you, Mother, the instant I'm certain as to the meaning of that signal. If it was what I believe it to be, It will be repeated in 60 seconds.
Well, if that's some special signal that we don't know anything about, let's keep quiet when it starts again so Joan can tell exactly what it is.
In the meantime, let's... Oh, so they took the homing pigeons.
Yes, Captain Tex. The little pigeons are gone.
And with them went our strongest hopes for escape.
Well, I didn't think they'd let us keep them anyway.
Now, don't be too downhearted over the loss of those birds. These scientists won't hurt them any. They'll give them every care and attention because they want to study them. And the pigeons have done their work for us long ago. You all seem to forget that Johnson is on his way to the States with our position, and he knows where to get my formula. All we have to do is to hang on until he can have that formula compounded and organize a rescue party. We can expect rescue in less than 3 weeks.
1, 2, 1. Yes, that is the signal. And the position Johnson has for this island is quite useless.
Useless? Why, Joan?
That was the signal to move the island.
You mean to submerge it?
No, I mean to move it. Move it along the floor of the ocean for 1 mile or 25 miles or 1,000 miles.
Move this island? But, gee, golly whiskers, if they can move this whole island, how will anybody find us?
That is our hopeless position, Jerry. No one will ever find us.
When the Gregory yacht left Los Angeles in search of the Magic Island and Mrs. Gregory's long-lost little daughter, Joan, they anticipated plenty of trouble and were not long in finding it. They planned and executed one escape, only to be brought back to the strange island of Euclidia, where their position is now worse than ever, as they're confined in steel cells on one of the lower levels of this mad scientific colony. G47, master scientist and ruler of Euclidia, has just paid them a visit, not a pleasant one. Mrs. Gregory, Joan, Jerry, and Captain Bradford stand listening to a new threat. The signal to submerge the island of Euclidia is sounding, and with it, another signal which only Joan understands. Jerry, Tex, and Pat find it hard to believe Joan as she explains the second signal.
There's that blamed gong again.
The island will be moved.
You mean that, Joan? They will actually move this huge island?
Yes, Mother.
Well, golly whiskers.
That's a pretty big order, Joan. This island is 100 feet high and several hundred feet in diameter.
And it weighs more than 1 million tons. Yet it will be moved. It is moving now.
Well, how do they move it?
There are immense cantilever-activated units of the worldly articulated caterpillar type, which simply progress slowly but steadily along the ocean floor.
An island that weighs 1 million tons walking around on the floor of the ocean? This is a nightmare.
Yet it's real. Horribly real. I can feel a steady vibration now. The entire place seems to be rocking gently from side to side.
That is a fair layman's description of the action.
Oh, yeah? Well, a layman's description is plenty good enough for me now. I don't need a lot of scientific languages to tell me that we're sunk.
We are not sunk, Jerry. We are submerged.
Well, sunk or submerged, we're underwater just the same, and I'm no fish.
I know how you feel, Jerry, but we don't seem to be able to do very much about it. So let's try to take it as calmly as we can.
But, Tex, this means the end of everything. When the island is moved, our position is changed. No one will find us, and all of Johnson's work to bring aid will be lost.
That's about it, Pat.
Then there's nothing we can do.
Oh, Joan and I'll get you out of this. Don't worry about that.
Well, of course, we're glad to have your spirits so high, Jerry, and you have done a great deal. But do you know what you're going to do about this?
No, not yet. But I'll figure it out.
We'll all work on it, Jerry, and something surely must come out of it.
Jerry and I were fortunate in discerning certain possibilities on our tour of the island previous to our recent ill-fated escape attempt. Perhaps we could do as well if the attempt were repeated, though our activities would of necessity be directed along different lines.
She means that we can try it again, but we'll have to get a new angle.
Oh, thank you, Jerry.
Got any ideas, Joan?
Nothing of value at the moment, but Jerry and I may be able to discover something. May we go and carefully observe everything in this portion of the island?
You may be running into danger, dear.
How? We're locked in this little bunch of steel rooms. How are we going to get hurt any more by looking around than we would by just standing still?
I think Jerry's right, Pat. Let them go. They did all right for us before. And if they can't get out, nothing can get in to hurt them.
Don't stay away too long, will you?
Oh, it won't take us long to look this little place over. And we'll be back as soon as we find anything that looks like news.
Do not worry, Mother. We will return soon.
That's funny.
What, Tex?
That hollow echo of their steps on the steel floor, but the echoes are gone from the rest of the room.
Why, yes, so they are. Our voices are perfectly normal.
Yet the steps continue to echo. Oh, this is certainly a weird island.
Tex, now that the children are out of hearing, what do you really think about our chances?
Not any too good, Pat.
In fact, hopeless.
No, Pat, it isn't quite that bad.
Oh, yes, it is. You might as well admit it. They've locked us in these steel apartments, in one of the lower levels, and taken our homing pigeons, without our only means of communication, and locked up in a steel room below the surface of the sea. What possible chance could we have?
We escaped before, didn't we?
Yes, from the surface of the island, with the help of our pigeons, and Johnson, and another boat.
Yes, and Johnson is still free. He must be nearly to Los Angeles by this time, and our rescue may be only a matter of days or weeks at the most.
There's no reason to try to deceive me, Tex. We're all in this together. You and Jerry are in the same hopeless position just because you wanted to help me. And even Joan is in danger because of my attempt to take her back to our world. She was comparatively happy here with these Euclideans until we came. She knew nothing of our world, and her mother was only a name to her. Now we've brought to her all the promise of the love and brightness in our world, the promise that it would one day become her world, and we can't make good on that. It's rather a miserable failure, Tex, for all of us, and it's all my fault.
Now, Pat, that's no way to talk. Look how Jerry and Joan keep their heads up. They know as much about the danger here as we do. Surely we can do as well as those kids.
Oh, Jerry's fine. He's been such a help and comfort to me. But I promised his father that I'd take care of him. Take care of him by getting him imprisoned under the sea in an artificial island, peopled by mad scientists. Why, take care of him.
Stop that. You're not going to help things by going to pieces. We'd better be putting all our energy on some plan to get out of this place.
Oh, but it's all so hopeless.
We haven't even tried to get out since they put us in these steel cells. We haven't studied the old sailor's diary.
You're right. That diary may contain something of value to us.
No doubt of that, after the old man tried so hard to get it to us.
And where's the old man now?
Where is he? Why, well...
Exactly.
But we have his diary, and it's supposed to contain a detailed description of nearly everything on this island.
He couldn't use that knowledge to make his own escape.
Pat, I've never known you to act just like this. You sound so absolutely hopeless about it all.
Oh, perhaps I'm overtired. I've never felt quite this hopeless before. I'm sorry, Tex. You've been so sweet all these years, waiting for me to find Joan, waiting for me to do this and that, and now... Oh, Tex, it looks as if we've waited too long.
Oh, nonsense, Pat. Keep your chin up. We'll get out of this somehow. You've been a very wonderful person through it all. 14 years of waiting for Joan, and now you have her. It's not right that we shouldn't get back to our world to enjoy our lesson. We will get back.
Mrs. Gregory?
Oh, is that Jerry?
Sounded like it.
Mother?
Yes, that was Joan.
Come here a minute.
Where are you?
Down at the end of this steel hall. Come on, take a look at what's happening here. Hurry up and come in, will you?
Coming, Jerry.
He doesn't sound as if anything serious was wrong. But it isn't like Jerry to be so impatient.
Now, Mother, you and the captain must not be too badly frightened by what Jerry and I have discovered.
We mustn't what?
You two won't get scared if we show you something, will you?
What in the world has come over you, Jerry? Captain Bradford and I are not apt to be frightened by anything you take so calmly. What is it?
It may be of great moment to all of us, and it may be a mental enlargement of a minute accidental circumstance brought about by our proximity to countless things beyond the comfortable grasp of tired minds. In either event, it will avail us nothing to give it undue consideration.
Joan means we may be making a mountain out of whatever they make mountains out of, but she's afraid it's as bad as it looks.
Well, for heaven's sakes, Joan, what is all this?
You show them, Jerry. I will watch in the corridor.
No use doing that. Everything we're saying is being heard anyhow.
I expect that's true enough, but get on with it, kid. What stirred you all up?
Well, take a look on the floor, down here in the corner of this cell.
On the floor?
Yes, and if you look close, right up against that wall, you'll see where there's a little moisture coming in. Water or something, but it isn't any accident, I'll bet. See how steady it drops through that fine hole? Just as if the hole had been drilled there to let the water in.
Yes, I see it now.
But what could it mean?
It could mean a great many things, most of which I'd just as soon not think of now.
Well, I got an idea what it is, and that's the reason Joan and I didn't want to tell you about it at first.
If it's anything that important, we should know about it at once.
I'll say so. Come on, let's have it, Jerry, and hurry it up.
Well, Joan says that she heard some funny stories about people who had been put in these lower-level cells. Stories about water running into the place in a stream like this one, no bigger than a pinhole, and maybe it takes weeks or months or maybe a year But finally the water gets so deep in here that you have to stand up to keep your head above it. And when you can't stand it anymore, you tell those crazy Euclideans whatever it is they want to know.
But, Jerry, you say Joan spoke of others who had been put down in here, and these rooms slowly flooded? Who were they?
There is no longer any need to worry about our conversation. You will note that our voices no longer echo. That would mean that the directional rays are focused upon our chambers, and everything we say or do will be heard and seen in the central communication chamber.
Well, as long as we can speak right out in meeting, I'd like to know a whole lot more about this water running in here on the floor.
You've heard something of it, Joan?
I have heard many discussions between G47 and his assistants relative to the prisoners in these cells. All of them were people of importance in the scientific world, or high officers in the armies and navies of countries of the orderly world. All of them had some secret that the Euclideans wanted to learn. And when this water would rise to the level of the prisoner's mouth, they would learn what they desired.
They wouldn't have to wait that long for me.
Joan, my dear, do you think we are being subjected to that punishment now in order to secure the captain's formula for the Euclideans?
I am sure of it, Mother. We will never be allowed to leave these rooms until G47 knows all there is to be known of the universal solvent.
About how long will it take to fill this room, Joe?
That I do not know, Captain. But it will take only a few hours for the water to lie on the floor to the depth of an inch in this room, and closing the room off will do no good, as the water will simply pass into the next room when it reaches a depth of 1 inch.
Oh, the sensible thing to do would be to give up my formula right now and take our chances on what they would do with us after that.
It might be just as well, Captain.
Now, don't you do it, Tex. We've still got plenty of time to figure some way out of this.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Jerry, though I must admit I haven't the faintest idea as to how to go about it.
But, Pat, you're all in danger.
Not as great danger as we would be once these Euclideans had taken all they wanted from us.
You're right, Mrs. Gregory. That formula is all they're saving us for, and let's hang on to it as long as we can.
Somebody knocking on the hall door.
That is strange. The Euclideans do not knock.
But no one except the Euclideans would have the freedom of these chambers.
You three stay where you are. I'll find out.
Oh, be careful, Tex.
Don't worry. I'll watch everything.
Something funny going on here. Notice how quickly the captain's steps stop making any noise?
No one on Euclidia ever knocks at a door. I do not like this.
Oh, you children are overly excited.
Well, maybe. But just the same. Hey, Tex! Tex! Captain Bradford!
Jerry, Tex doesn't answer. Do you think that some...